What if I told you that one single trade, just one decision, completely changed the future of an NBA franchise? The Dallas Mavericks had the golden ticket and gave it away. This wasn't just any trade. It was a move that helped one team rise to glory while leaving an entire city wondering, what if? How did the Mavericks let a generational talent like Luka Dončić slip through their fingers? And what if I told you? It might be one of the biggest scams in NBA history. The NBA has seen some wild trades, but this one? This was different. This wasn't just a bad trade. It was a move that left an entire city in shock, a franchise in turmoil, and fans feeling completely betrayed. The Dallas Mavericks didn't just trade a superstar, they traded their whole future. Luka Dončić was more than just a player for the Mavericks. He was their hope, their identity. The guy they believed would bring another championship to Dallas. He had already taken them to the NBA Finals. He was only 25, just entering his prime, and already one of the best players in the world. Unless you've lost your mind, you do not trade a player like that. But that's exactly what happened. Luka Dončić, the face of the Mavericks, was suddenly traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. In return, a 32-year-old Anthony Davis, a role player, and just one first-round pick. That's it. No blockbuster package, no rebuilding plan, just an aging star who can't stay healthy. Fans didn't just dislike this trade, they hated it. It made zero sense. And the more you dig into it, the worse it gets. Mavericks GM Nico Harrison struggled to explain the decision. His press conference was awkward, filled with vague answers and contradictions. He claimed it was about the future, but when asked how this move helped long-term, he couldn't give a clear answer. Fans weren't buying it. They saw right through the excuses. Luka himself was stunned. When he first saw the trade, he thought it was a joke, like some April Fool's prank. But it was real. And it wasn't just Luka who was confused. Other NBA players, analysts, and rival teams couldn't understand why the Mavericks would give up a generational talent for so little. The details of how this trade happened make it even more bizarre. Instead of shopping Luka around the league to get the best deal, Nico Harrison reportedly only contacted the Lakers. He didn't take offers from other teams. He didn't try to create a bidding war. He just picked the Lakers and made the deal. Why? No one knows for sure. But rumors started flying. One theory? Harrison never truly liked Luka. Before becoming the Mavericks GM, he was closely connected to Kobe Bryant and openly compared Luka's work ethic to Kobe's. He didn't like what he saw. An anonymous source claimed Harrison was frustrated with Luka's conditioning and attitude. Instead of building around Luka, he wanted to start fresh with a player like Anthony Davis. But even if that's true, why wouldn't the Mavericks get more in return? If they wanted to move on from Luka, why settle for a deal that left them with fewer picks and older players? This is where things start to get suspicious. The new Mavericks owners, the Adelson family, have deep ties to Las Vegas, and that's where the conspiracy theories begin. The more people looked into this trade, the more suspicious it became. At first it seemed like just a bad basketball decision, but then a theory started circulating, one that changed everything. What if this trade had nothing to do with basketball? What if it was all about business, money, and power? The new Mavericks owners, the Adelson family, aren't lifelong basketball fans. They didn't buy the team because they loved the game. They bought it because they wanted to expand their casino empire. Their goal? Make sports betting legal in Texas. And to do that, they needed leverage. Dallas was supposed to be their way in, but their first attempt failed. Despite donating millions to politicians and hiring powerful lobbyists, Texas shut them down. No casinos, no sports betting, nothing. That meant their investment in the Mavericks wasn't paying off, so they needed a new plan, something drastic. That's where this trade comes in. The theory goes like this. The owners knew trading Luka would destroy fan morale. They knew the city would turn against them. And that's exactly what they wanted. Because when Texas votes on gambling again in 2 years, they could tell lawmakers, approve it or we'll move the Mavericks to Las Vegas. It sounds insane, but think about it. The NBA has been talking about expanding to Vegas for years. Adam Silver has practically guaranteed that a team is coming, and the Adelsons already have business operations there. If they can't get gambling legalized in Texas, moving the Mavericks to Vegas would be the next best option for their bottom line. And if this was the plan all along, it explains everything. It explains why the Mavericks didn't even try to get the best trade package for Luka. They weren't interested in making the team better. They weren't looking at basketball value. They were looking at ways to make the franchise less valuable to Dallas and more valuable to Vegas. The reaction from Mavericks fans was immediate and brutal. Protests broke out outside the arena. People canceled their season tickets. Within days, the team lost over 1 million followers on social media. Even Mavericks players seemed confused and frustrated. Anthony Davis, the player they traded for, had to beg fans to stay loyal to the team publicly. It didn't work. The front office knew they had a disaster and started damage control. GM Nico Harrison tried to justify the trade, saying it was about building for the future. But fans weren't buying it. They weren't stupid. They knew that if the Mavericks were truly planning for the future, they would have gotten multiple first-round picks. Instead, they got one, just one, from the Lakers, a team that won't even be bad enough to make that pick valuable. As the dust settled, it became clear. This was not just the worst trade in Mavericks history, it might be one of the worst trades in NBA history. And the damage wasn't just to the team's roster, it was to the entire city of Dallas. For decades, Mavericks fans had an identity. Dirk Nowitzki gave them 21 years of loyalty, bringing a championship to the city the right way. Luka Dončić was supposed to carry that legacy. He was homegrown and developed into a superstar right in front of their eyes. Dallas fans don't just root for their team, they connect with their players. It's why this trade hurt more than anything else. The front office didn't just move on from Luka. They ripped the heart out of the franchise. What makes it worse is that there was no warning. Luka wasn't asking out. There were no significant issues behind the scenes. He wasn't at odds with teammates or demanding a trade. This wasn't a case of a superstar forcing his way out. It was a choice made entirely by management, one that no one, not even the players, saw coming. So what did the front office gain? Anthony Davis is an incredible player when healthy, but that's a huge win. His body has struggled to keep up with the demands of an 82-game season. He was already injured when the Mavericks traded for him. Not even one game into his Mavericks career, he got hurt again, and he's 32. How many years does he realistically have left as an elite player? Meanwhile, Luka Dončić is still getting better. He's 25, already putting up historic numbers, and hasn't even reached his prime yet. When you trade a player like that, you're supposed to get everything in return. Multiple unprotected picks, young talent, future flexibility. The Mavericks got one pick. Just one. That's unheard of. Now the biggest question remained. Was this just the beginning of something even worse?